In today's tabletop review, we're going to be taking a look at a LED weapon light made by a company called Olight. This is their Pl-2 Valkyrie weapon light. It has an output of 1200 lumens. It is designed to fit on pistol rails or rifle rails, and it carries a 5-year warranty. It ships in this POP type of box right here, which basically has some specifications on the front, warranty information on the side, and some more specifications on the rear of the box. So let's go ahead and take a look at the contents of this package, and we'll talk about some specifications. Okay, inside of the package we obviously have the light. We have two CR123A lithium batteries that are included and pre-installed in the light. We have two cross pins for mounting on different types of rails. This one is the Glock. Right now the cross pin for the Picatinny 1913 rail is mounted. There is a included tool for swapping out the cross pin, and then of course there is a user manual. So let's take a look at the light here. And what we basically have is your typical rail mounted high output light. The light is activated by one of two switches here, so you can press either one of these switches or press both switches. The functionality of this particular light is constant on, momentary on, and strobe. All three of those functions can be activated by different pressing mechanisms of this button. So if we press it once, we turn the light on constant. Press it again, we turn it off. If we press and hold and let go, we have our momentary. Pressing of both of these buttons turns on the strobe mode. So that's a really nice feature right there. You've got all three different types of functionality that are toggled just by the way you press either of these buttons. Since this is listed as an ambidextrous light, if you're running this on a pistol, if you're left or right-handed, your index finger will be able to reach up and hit either one of the buttons. The battery compartment is accessed via this panel right here, this little lever. You just pop it up and this door will open and you have access to your batteries. Now normally there's a little piece of paper installed here by the manufacturer to keep the batteries from accidentally draining. I've already removed that because I've already done thorough testing of this light. It ships with two Olight 3-volt 1600 milliamp disposable batteries, and it is clearly marked which way the batteries go, positive and negative, positive and negative. So that's nice. To close this door, you have to pull up on that little lever, close the door, hold it down, push the lever in place, and there you go. Now another really great feature about this particular light is it has a quick release lever. So installing this on your Picatinny rail and removing it is just a flip away. Really nice feature right there, which differs from some of the other similar types of weapon lights that require a screwdriver or some sort of a screw that you have to tighten down. So the quick release is a really nice feature. This is where the cross pin goes, and like mentioned, there's two included. There's one for the Glock and there's one for the 1913 rails. You can use the included Torx wrench to remove these two bolts, and this piece just lifts out and you can put in the other one. It does ship with the Glock cross pin installed, so if you do buy one of these and you go to put it on your rifle and you find that you're having fitment problems, it's probably because the Glock pin is installed. So you have to take that out and put the Picatinny 1913 rail on instead. The outside of this particular light is a matte black finish, and it is a Type 3 hard coat anodized finish. The entire light is made from a 6061 aluminum. The head diameter is 1.28 inches. The body diameter is 1.44 inches. The length is 3.25 inches. The weight without batteries is roughly 3 ounces. The weight with batteries is 4.1 ounces. So I actually weighed this particular light, so these weights are accurate based off my digital scale. The Valkyrie uses a Cree XHP35 LED system rated at 1200 lumens. It also has a TIR optic lens providing a 245 meter long focus beam that is still wide enough to see all around you to eliminate any blind spots in the dark. Like mentioned, it is IPX6 waterproof. And the runtime. So let me explain how I tested the runtime here. Basically, I put a brand new set of batteries in this light. I turned it on constant, and I aimed it at the wall above my TV set while I was watching a movie. And this is what my findings were. At the full output of 1200 lumens, the light ran for 1.16 hours, so a little more than an hour and 15 minutes. At that time, the thermal circuitry decreased the light output to around 600 lumens, which is still bright, and that ran from an hour and 16 minutes to about an hour and 45 minutes. At that time, the batteries were getting drained, and the light lowered the output level again, and that light output level was very low at that point. So maybe 100, 150, 200 lumens, I don't know, but the light actually ran for 4 hours and 30 minutes on these two batteries. But the longer it ran, the weaker and weaker the light output was. So consider the usable functional lifespan of these batteries would be an hour and 45 minutes. Now, those were my results based on the testing I did with a fresh set of batteries in this light. It's not scientific by any means, but I did, the reason I focused the beam above my television set was so the light stayed within my field of view. So when the light intensity, when the thermal circuitry kicked in and the light dropped from 1200 to 600 lumens, I wanted to be able to tell exactly when that happened, and it worked just like I mentioned. The other thing to note is that running at 1200 lumens for an hour and 16 minutes, the body of this light got extremely hot. Now, if for some reason you were running this on your firearm for that long, touching this back panel, this switch panel here, which is all plastic, was not a problem. This didn't get hot. It was just the aluminum outer casing that got hot. So wherever you mount this, you know, if you were running it for that long a period of time, you'd want to definitely try to not touch the aluminum housing. After this kicked down to 600 lumens, the temperature level of the outer casing cooled down substantially. So within a few minutes, you could go ahead and touch this again. So those were my findings on testing the light and the output levels. So the other light I have that falls in this same category would be the Streamlight TLR1HL light. And you can see these are very similar in their design. The Streamlight, by the way, weighs in with batteries at 4.6 ounces. So the Olight's actually less than the Streamlight. The Streamlight is rated at 800 lumens, and the Olight is most definitely brighter than the Streamlight. Now, I don't have a lux meter or any way to measure the light output, but looking at these two side by side, it's quite obvious that the beam pattern of the Valkyrie is brighter and more focused than the Streamlight. The Streamlight also, this particular one, since this is a weapon mounted light, this is designed to use with a paddle switch. This one actually has a large knurled knob that you have to tighten down to attach this to your Picatinny rail, whereas the Valkyrie has the quick detach lever. So just wanted to mention that. This isn't really a comparison review between these two lights, but since I actually own this Streamlight and it's on my SBR, I can definitely compare it to the Valkyrie a little bit. And so what I've seen so far with the Valkyrie, I like it very much. It's not going to replace this particular light because I have several rifles, but the Valkyrie is going to go on my AR pistol. All right, so we've talked about the specifications, my testing, the measurements. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at the light patterns between these two lights, so you kind of judge the difference between the Valkyrie and the Streamlight. Okay, I've dimmed the lights a little bit here on my work area so you can better see the beam pattern. This is the Valkyrie. You can see that the light output pattern is nice and solid and round. And here's the TLR1. And let's see, you may not be able to tell this on camera, but the TLR1 is got a lot of bleed off of the center of the beam. You can see we've got a hot spot in the middle and we've got a lot of bleed around the outer edges, whereas the Valkyrie is very well defined and focused. That's, and what you probably also can't tell on this workbench area, the Valkyrie is actually brighter than the TLR1. And that's about as scientific as the light output testing can be. Again, going back to momentary, and then the strobe, which is freaking out the camera. Okay, so much for the scientific testing of the light output of the two lights. So what do I think of the Valkyrie? I'm quite impressed with the Olight offering. If you're not familiar with Olight, definitely visit their website. I'll put the link for this light in the description. They make some very high quality tactical flashlights at a reasonable price. They're not the least expensive lights on the market, but you know, you're going to pay a little bit more to get quality. And I think the quality is definitely here in this particular light. Everything from the finish, the mounting mechanism, the quick detach, how the lens is designed, and the body of this, I see nothing but very good high quality workmanship that's gone into this particular light. Since we've covered pretty much all of our talking points, I'm going to go ahead and set the camera up so I can show you. I'm going to mount this to an AR pistol just so you can see how it mounts and what kind of ergonomics you get with access to these particular buttons. I do apologize ahead of time. I do not have a pistol that I can actually mount this to. Most of my EDC pistols do not have integrated Picatinny rails on them, so the best I can do for a demonstration is on an AR rifle. So let's go ahead and get to that. Okay, I've got one of my AR-15 pistols here on our display bench. I've cleared out some of the Picatinny rail section on the left side of the upper receiver, so we can mount the Valkyrie Pl-2. Of course, like mentioned, I do have the 1913 Picatinny rail cross pin installed on this. So to install it, we just release the lever and we find correct placement on our rail, and then tighten down the lever. And that's basically all there is to installing it. And you can get an idea of what this looks like. Now, on a rifle, if depending upon how you are accustomed to accessing buttons, you can see that I have just a hand stop right here, and I can basically just use my thumb and come up and hit the button. I'm a constant on type of person, so when I go to use my flashlight, I turn it on and I leave it on. But if you were so inclined, you could just put your thumb on it, hold the button down, do your room clearance or whatever you happen to be doing, take your thumb off, and the light goes off. So turning on the strobe's a little bit more tricky when you have this particular light installed on a rifle, of course, because you're going to have to remove your hand from from the grip on the upper receiver and actually use two fingers and squeeze the two buttons simultaneously. So not quite as convenient, but that's the way it's designed. So that's the Olight Pl-2 Valkyrie tabletop review, testing my findings, as well as mounting on a Picatinny rail on a AR-15 pistol. So my final conclusions on this light: I'm quite impressed with it. It's kind of what I expected from Olight. They are a very high quality, they do manufacture high quality flashlights, so this was no exception. It's exactly what I expected to see from them. The light output on this is phenomenal. The beam pattern is phenomenal. To me, the runtime on this was excellent. I can't imagine having this light on for an hour and 15 minutes constantly. So, you know, definitely I'm going to get a lot of life out of the two CR123A batteries that this particular light uses. The link for this light from Olight's website will be in the description. They sell this for $99.95. Thanks for watching.